How land masses are distributed. What is worth noting is, during one of the flights by Antarctica, the Gray satellite discovered a gravitational anomaly in a virtually blank spot on the icy continent. There were virtually no special surface features, and out of the blue, the satellites discovered a gravitational spike, where the gravity reaches 300 miles up into space and pulls them down stronger than anywhere else on the continent. This phenomenon is known as the Weik's Land gravity anomaly and is one of the greatest mysteries on Earth. The question is, what could be underneath the permanent icy sheet of Antarctica and exert such a gravitational force? The American geophysicist Ralph von Fries's at the Ohio State University, one member of the team who made this shocking discovery, used various radar equipment and revealed an area of 320 km wide with dense mantle material at a depth of more than 1.6 km under the ice shelf of Weik's Land. This mass concentration may have been caused by an upswelling of denser material from the Earth's mantle because of a massive impact. In other words, the first clue is that this may very well be an impact crater. Fries said it himself that if this concentration was on the Moon, he would expect to see a crater around it. The team then looked at the airborne radar images of the areas and found what were described as a crater, a singular ridge around 500 km wide, running around the concentration. If this theory is true, this could be the biggest crater ever found on Earth, and the size of the object might very well be 4 to 5 times as big as the asteroid that's called the KPG extinction, the mass extinction 65 million years ago that wiped out the known avian dinosaurs. Some other researchers, on the other hand, suggested that this may have been caused by volcanic magma swelling up from the deep. Nonetheless, the Earth's mantle in these specific areas is actually much thinner than other areas in Antarctica. Therefore, the theories of volcanic activities being the cause of the anomalies is rejected. Another intriguing discovery is that the areas of anomaly was actually lying inside a much larger circular structure, which was visible in the radar images of the land surface beneath the permanent ice sheet. Thus, if this really is a crater impact, the asteroid that caused it is still lying in the dead center of it. Unfortunately, up to present day, scientists still have no clue or method to unearth, or to put it more precisely, unice this object, whatever it might be. Using currently available tools and satellites only reveal the gravitational force larger than anywhere else on the ice continent of Antarctica, which itself is, so far, a mystery. Conspiracies surrounding the Weik's Land gravitational anomalies include a secret Nazi base, allegedly built there during the Second World War. Evidence of this are coming to light in recent years, with photos showing various saucer-shaped entrances built on the side of mountains. Interestingly, the entrances are at a very high altitude. How exactly does one enter a saucer-shaped entrance high up in a mountain? Think about it yourself, but we would say with a saucer-shaped flying object. There are other evidence and even witnesses supporting the theories of this being a secret base for flying saucer objects. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed and the KGB, the former Soviet intelligence agencies, released documents which has previously been classified. These documents revealed the United States' infamous Operation High Jump. Operation High Jump was officially named the United States Naval Antarctic Development Program. It was organized by Rear Admiral Richard Byrd, Jr. and led by Rear Admiral Richard Cruzen. Starting on August 26th of 1946 and ending in late February 1947. During the operation, the U.S. Navy sent multiple expeditions of a task force containing 4,000 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircrafts to the Antarctic, with the public reasons being training humans and testing equipment in frigid conditions, studying the Antarctic and possibilities of establishing research bases. Many people, however, believe the true purpose of the operations was to investigate the previously said entrances to the secret Navy base, or even to an inner Earth. Much of this information actually even came from Mr. Byrd himself. He told tales of saucer-shaped objects that burst out of the icy Atlantic Ocean, attacked and nearly destroyed his entire fleet, and finally escaped. Admiral Byrd was later quoted saying that the primary threat of the US on Earth was not at all the Russians, but the mysterious force located near the South Pole, with the capabilities of attacking the human civilization at will, with little to no foresight or warning at all. Other conspiracy theorists even suggested under the ice shelf of Antarctica lies the lost continent of Atlantis. So what do you think? Is it an enormous space rock 5 times as big as the Himalayas, a secret military base of flying saucers, or a whole hidden civilization? Whatever the theories, one thing is for sure: Antarctica has long been, and will probably continue to be, in the foreseeable future, the enigma of the scientific community. What exactly lies under the Antarctic ice sheet may forever be unknown. At least until global warming has something to say about it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, share and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more. See you very soon. This is JT at Exile, signing out. As the skies above us change, the earth shakes, volcanoes will awake, and air and water bodies are also acting anomalously and disastrously. Hi guys, it's JT here at X Science, and science has recently coined a completely new natural disaster, rain bomb. Basically, it's a burst of downpours which happens when a cool heavy column of air sinks suddenly in the middle of a storm. This downdraft pulls the water droplet down with it with tremendous force. The effects of climate change have caused the upper atmosphere to warm to the degree that it holds much more moisture, which builds up until it meets cold dry air, creating a massive and unstable system. Hawaii was hit with this phenomenon on the 14th and 15th of April this year, resulting in the flooding of the botanical gardens of Hanalei Valley. These places were shut down, and the consequences was closely monitored because these regions are home to species of plants and animals that are found nowhere else on the planet. Another strange water phenomenon earlier this year is the abnormalous tidal patterns in South America. There was a historical retreating of the waters along the coast of South America on the side of the Atlantic Ocean in Brazil and Uruguay, and simultaneously the crossings of water into the source along the Pacific coast of Chile and other western edge of the continent. Now moving a little bit back into the past, and we arrive at the record low water level of the Mississippi River in October 2017. Now a lot of you may have not heard of this event because it did not receive a lot of media coverage, but we understand because that is exactly what media do. driving out extensions away from the harbinger of Judgment Day. But anyway, last October, in the areas of the new Madrid seismic zone, the river became extremely shallow, with many regions becoming dry. In fact, a whole 130-mile stretch of the Mississippi, from Tennessee to the northwest of the state of Mississippi, was so low that barges were not able to ship cargoes through the region. The water level was as low as 7 feet, and that broke the record of shallowness in the Mississippi in recorded history. So just for your information, the lowest ever recorded before that was 10.73 feet, and that was all the way back to July of 1988. Here's where it got stranger. A few days before the water got this low, there had been 3 earthquakes within a short 10 hours. So the question here is, could these seismic activities be the cause for the water disappearing? Because there are hypotheses saying that the water are seeping through the cracks or are pushed somewhere else as a result of these earthquakes. Yet there are also another possible explanation, which is the severe drought in the Central Valley. Whatever the explanation, the simultaneous drought and earthquakes and retrievals of water indicate that there is something out there is going through dramatic changes. You also need to know that just a few months before this record low, the Mississippi went through what could have been considered a historical flash flooding, which affected 6 states: Missouri, Arkansas, Indiana, Oklahoma, Illinois, and Louisiana. Now I'll show you this brief news outlet which reported the flood last April and May, so you can see how extreme the phenomenon was, and remember that it went through this extreme high almost immediately before the extreme low. The point is that the Earth is going through an upheaval. But anyway, I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes, and here's a news footage.
This is the Mississippi River. So those are bodies of water where you see the black on the map.
That's right. Now let's advance to what it looks like now, and you're going to see that area just expand. Look at all that. Down here, Pocahontas, where we had the levee breach, Poplar Bluff. Look at all that blue. That all just fills in. Check out this on Highway 21. This is what it looks like normally. And let's go ahead and advance and show you. Look at that. So all that water spilling in right in between.
When you watch the flooding, it's all the water pouring in between the two there.
And so we took you back more than 7 days now, because this is the 3rd round of rain that we're dealing with. And over the last 2 weeks,
more rain is in the forecast. We've been looking at it all week long. Now, some of these places in the flood zones, we're starting to see levee breaches, numerous ones we had yesterday. They're looking at 10+ inches of rain over the past 7 days. Over 100 river gauges have flooded along the Mississippi, Missouri, and Arkansas rivers.
This is the area that will continue to have problems with flooding. And I do want to make a note. The major rivers such as the Missouri and the Mississippi, we're going to continue to have flooding along.
Now let's go back to the earthquakes. If you guys have been following us recently, you guys would have known that scientists are saying that the areas of the American West Coast is overdue for mega earthquake on magnitude 9 or greater. The reason is because the oceanic plate is slipping under the North American plate and is being pressed like a spring, and whether it gets shorter or spring back, it will create an earthquake and tsunami so big that many parts of America will be hit within only 15 minutes. Not to mention the nearby supervolcano Yellowstone, which would immediately kill almost 90,000 people if it erupts. Now what do I mean by the area is overdue? Chris Gowinger, earthquake geologist at the Oregon State University, and his college have been collecting core samples of sediments in the ocean for 55 years. They calculated that a mega earthquake will happen periodically, and the average interval is 240 years. The last major Cascadian earthquake was already over 300 years ago, and according to the scientists, the Earth has not experienced anything like this magnitude 9 earthquake. America is not the only place where seismic activities are acting up. In fact, the whole planet is being shook. If you visit the website earthquakecheck.com, you'll be surprised to discover that a staggering number of almost 21,500 earthquakes have hit the Earth in the past 30 days. That's more than 700 a day. In July, when Kilauea of Hawaii was erupting, a record 800 earthquakes per day were recorded on Hawaii's Big Island. Now the largest earthquake in the last years was the one in Chiapas, Mexico. If you still remember, this quake hit Mexico on September 8th of 2017. It was magnitude 8.1 at the center and 7.1 in Mexico. Now watch these videos of how horrible it was. You see how the building almost collapsed and how the meter flagpole shook. There was 370 casualties in total. A bit further back into the past, and you probably still remember the magnitude 6.7 earthquake that hit Ecuador in April 2016. You see, the earthquakes were only magnitude 8. A magnitude 9 one would cause tsunami as tall as 30 meters. The tsunamis in Japan in 2011 was only 6 meters tall, and it already killed dozens of thousands of people and triggered a nuclear disaster. Imagine what a 30 meters tall tsunami that hits after 50 minutes can do to the west coast of America. Of course, these things will never be viral in official news outlets because of crowd control. The authorities are trying to keep the public to believe that everything is only a part of planetary activities and there is nothing major to worry about. But I'm telling you, the reality is not like that, because according to what we know, all sinking of the Earth and weird activities of the water is caused by increasing gravity of an inbound system of planets. That's right, folks. Planet X is all behind us. In 1 or 2 videos ago, I told you that the sun is becoming dormant because it's 11 years circle, and as a result, effects of cosmic bodies on Earth are becoming more and more pronounced. Hence, the planet 10 times more massive than the Earth, as well as its surrounding moons and debris fields, is more than capable of magnetically and gravitationally shaking the Earth up from the inside out. You guys have all the rights to not believe in this and deny this, because I understand how powerful the censorship of NASA and the governments are. But let me tell you again, the question here is not whether such thing will happen, but when it will happen. We have been warned by ancient civilizations as well as leaked and unofficial researchers. Every piece of information we have points to the conclusion that something massive is coming. And this is going to turn life around, if not destroying life on Earth completely. So the point here, like most of our videos, is to warn you guys of an incoming disaster. Also guys, please take your time off screen and look at your physical surroundings for once, because the harbinger of the end of the world are now all around us. Noticing these things a little early can mean a lot of difference in us updating each other and preparing for survival as disasters strike. And that's all for today guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because we have new updates and analysis of skies and terrestrial phenomena coming out very soon. Until then, look to the sky. This is JT at Exile signing out. As Nibiru approaches, its gravity field's effect on the Earth gets stronger and stronger, as evident in the increase in the wobble of the Earth. Of course, there are many people in denial of this fact, and so today this is the issue that we are going to tackle. What's up everyone, it's JT here at X Science, and in case you are new to the channel and the topic, I'm going to give you a quick Planet X 101. So the consensus by many is that a system of a planet 10 times more massive than the Earth, along with its 7 moons and debris fields, is heading towards the Earth, and as it arrives, it will wreak havoc on life on Earth. One of the most compelling signs of Planet X's arrival is the steady increase in the wobble of the Earth. For your information, Earth wobble refers to the deviations in the Earth's rotation axis. It has been changing at a great rate in recent years. In order to observe this, we need to observe the sky, the horizon, as a giant clock. As commonly known, direct north corresponds to 12 o'clock, and so east, south, and west are respectively 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. What I'm going to tell you next is about sound incredible, but it's real. It has been observed by farmers around the world, and in the unlikely event that you don't know, farmers work outdoors and watching the sky is part of their job because they need to keep track of sight of the weather in order to take care of their crop. Anyway, before 2000, the sun rose at the position of 4 o'clock and set at the opposite directions at 8 o'clock. However, by 2005, it rose at 3 and set at 9. It does not stop there. In 2014, it rose at 1:30 and set at 10:30. So the position changed by already 2.5 hours. That is a lot. It's much more chilled now. Note that all these positions are taken during the summer days, so no, there is no seasonal change involved. It's not only farmers, but Arctic tribal like the Inuit and the Eskimo also confirm this. Watch this.
Nunak yobut kijakluk palangan asin naligala ciumat kangan lalu nomanga akaunga syukui ni taka kisane kawi si penyuma sepenak apa gua nanu bulik mau nga samiano ni pekat talak si mangkalawang nunak yobatan na asin naligala ciumat tilugu mau nga daw yamik siya nga tak kasi mo natin sa kanya.
Sa kanya tayo ako si Tito ang ito. Sukay ma, nung nakikitlok pa naman sa kanya, paunak pa din ng ano, aking nga nagsarang mago. Ako si Bad Kakto. Marito ko, ang niyo pinitlok, manarang minatot sa kuya wala ko ma. Huwag ko aking niyakangan. Tamak ko, at yung nagtangin, ikong nga doon, iman na wala ko sa mayakarwa. Saya man na yung nila. Amma, ang wala ko sa mga miyata, ang marala sa mga kuta. Tamak ko, ugdo ko yan, ang makanoy liwat sa malagat natin. Sila kanoy liwat, ilano na kanoy liwat.
See, it's all real and it's increasing. Also, on the days of summer solstice, which is the 21st of June every year, the sun's position at high noon has also changed over the recent years. In 2005, it was in central Mexico. Then it moved north and reached central United States in 2014, and then the US-Canada border in 2015. That's a whole 2,000 miles in only 1 year. In 2016, it moved back south a bit and was around 41 degrees north latitude. All of this was caused by the wormhole, and as far as I know, there could only be one reason. A big gravitational force is affecting us. The known planets are still normal, so it means something unknown to us must be on its way approaching us. If you still don't believe it, then you can watch the tide. Tide is one of the terrestrial phenomena that show the most obvious effects from gravity. Extreme tidal movement that we call king tides and spring tides are behaving abnormally, and such abnormalities has been increasing steadily over recent time. Since tides are caused by the gravities of the sun and the moon, the sun's and the moon's gravity cannot increase. The rise in big tides can only mean that there is an additional source of gravity influencing the Earth. You can see this effect clearly from the historical reshifting of the waters along the coast of South America, on the side of the Atlantic Ocean in Brazil and Uruguay, and simultaneously the crossings of waters into the source along the Pacific coast of Chile and other western edges of the continent. Here's where things get more serious. Just 1 month later, which means in September of 2017, similar seas receding took place in North America. The following clips you are about to see were taken in Alabama and Florida, respectively. The authorities, however, attributed this water receding to the doings of Hurricane Irma, but note that this receding took place on September 12th, when Irma was already weakening. Speaking of Irma, for the sake of those who are not clear, it was absolutely catastrophic. It was in fact the second most powerful hurricane ever reported, and the second most expensive storm in the region. 69 people were reportedly killed in the storm. Extreme weather anomalies like Irma are experiencing an uptick in all possible shapes and sizes. If you remember, just 5 months ago, Europe fell into a deep freeze called the Beast from the East. The historical cold wave caused almost 100 casualties. Then, after only 2 more months, the whole continent experienced a record-long drought, and now it is roasted under a heat wave that brings the continent's temperatures up to as high as 100 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, or around 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. Wildfires rage across Europe, from the Arctic Circle to Sweden and Athens, burning thousands of hectares of lands, and in Greece, wildfire kills 200 people. The same thing is going on in California as fire rage on, and smoke even reached as far as Baltimore and Washington. The fires has burned a total areas of almost 1 million acres, costing more than $600 million and killing 14 people. Wildfires and cold waves can be known easily because they can be attributed to many reasons. Yet, strange phenomena worth knowing about, like water receding, is never reported by official news outlets. You probably know why. I mean, which politician would like the rest of the world to know about an imminent doom? That would definitely break the agenda to pieces and cause an economic and social collapse. In fact, this inbound planet has been known officially by the authorities since 1983. 1 week later its announcement, President Reagan made it part of a national security mandate, thus making it illegal by any agencies, scientists, or institutions to address the system of Nibiru when in public. That is why, when it comes to sensitive topics such as this one, it is very important that you keep a lookout on your physical surroundings and connect the dots. Of course, you can deny this in spite of all the harbingers right in front of your eyes. The most common counter-argument that I face when tackling this issue in public is that there is no date for the event. You see, there have been many dates associated with the Nibiru catalysm. The first one says to be in 2003, but you guys should remember that Miss Nancy Leader, the one who proposed the 2003 date, already denied it and said she would not reveal the real date because of public security reasons. So my guess is that the government reached out to her and she has no other choice but to follow the set out political roadmap. Then the date was postponed to the doomsday of 2012, but guys, please, that was only the end of Mayan calendar and it was never supposed to be associated with Planet X. It was only linked to the internet because of the internet trolls as well as people who did not keep themselves informed on the issues and panic. After 2012, the dates of Nibiru kept getting brought up and postponed like an endless loop of time, and the argument gradually loses its validity. But I just want to make you aware of all the signs that are being given to us both from the sky and from the ground. And you should not let internet trolls and uninformed people make you ignore real science out there. Unless you can somehow magically explain the increase in the Earth's wobble and string tides and sudden rise in extreme seismic and volcanic activities going all over the place, then I suggest you sit back and reflect a bit. All these things are connected together via the cause of a rise in gravities pushed upon us. You see, it is not a question of whether this will happen, but when it will happen. We simply cannot calculate a date because there is just not enough information given to us. The elites will do whatever they can to keep us uninformed. If you remember, I once talked about how they lowered the earthquake scale and spray mist into the sky to block out any visible sign of planet X. This is repetition, but again, I want to emphasize that you should trust your physical surrounding and common sense instead of believing in what the authorities want us to believe in.
If it exists
That's
on
it for
this
today,
space
guys.
body.
If you still don't
At
believe
this
it,
time,
I might
a
take
sufficient
it
number of
again.
planets have been discovered outside our solar system to conclude that super-Earths are the most common kind of planet in the Milky Way galaxy. This conclusion does not explain what the physical nature of a super-Earth is, but the discovery of planet GJ1214b has enabled scientists to make serious progress in this direction. It has a diameter twice that of Earth and 7 times its mass.
In September 2017, mysterious ocean receding took place in many places around the world simultaneously. Abnormal tides push the shore other destinations. It felt that there's something out there is increasing the gravitational pull on Earth, thus enhancing tidal activities. What's up, YouTubers? This is JT here at X Science, and if you have been following our channel, I've talked a lot about ocean receding and abnormal tidal activities recently. I'm not going to repeat myself on the events of 2017 again, but I'm going to show you the footage back then so you can see what happens in case you've been missing them. As we all know, tide is one of the terrestrial phenomena that show the most obvious effects from gravity. Extreme tidal movement that we call king tides and spring tides are behaving abnormally, and such abnormality has been increasing steadily over recent time. Since tides are caused by the gravity of the sun and the moon, and the sun's and the moon's gravity cannot increase, the rise in big tides can only mean that there is an additional source of gravity influencing the Earth. And what is the source of gravity, you ask? Well, unless you are a newbie to the issue, you would know immediately that I am talking about Planet X, also known to many as Nibiru. Just for the sake of those who have not caught up, Planet X, or Nibiru, or sometimes Nemesis, refer to a system of rogue planets and 7 orbiting entities and debris field, which is on a very weird orbit around our Sun and is currently approaching the planet Earth from below the planes where the known planets orbit. This approaching object is agreed and calculated by many, from us to renowned scientists like Carlos Mundo Ferrada. Even ancient scripts of many civilizations pointed to these objects, and everyone came to the same conclusion that its arrival will spell doom for the majorities of life and human civilizations on Earth. Of course, the mainstream media as well as governments will not let you know about this. Like most important events, the public is kept in the dark for the sake of crowd controls, and therefore we can only depend on leaked information as well as the signs from the physical world around us to know what is really happening about us. Events like these anomalous and abnormal tides was also not often reported. The receding water in 2017 has almost fell into oblivion until another such event took place again earlier this year. You heard that right. This is not a one-off event. It is becoming more normal, and it is a harbinger that we are supposed to keep an eye on. This time the water receded from North Carolina and hit upon Massachusetts. Now first of all, take a look at this footage taken from Massachusetts. It looked catastrophic, didn't it? Yet in the meantime, Carolina was bone dry. As low tide becomes more normal, it becomes more obvious and undeniable that something with a considerable gravitational force is approaching, and it is exerting its gravity upon the Earth. But tides are not the only evidence that we have of this occurrence. You see, celestial bodies' gravity can push other bodies, and this case is no exception. Even though the Earth is not being pushed out of its orbit, it is being pushed off its axis. What do I mean by that? Well, the Earth wobble has been increasing for more than a decade now, back since at least 2005. Wobble refers to the tilt in the rotating axis of the Earth, and this phenomenon has been observed as a shift in the angles of the Sun, the Moon, and other cosmic bodies as seen from the Earth. We have farmers from many places in the world confirming this rise in the wobble, and there is at least a certain degree of validity in the words because farmers have to watch the sun, moons, and other signs in the sky to predict weather and take care of the crops. It's a part of their livelihood and they are experienced in this activity, so there is no doubt. You shouldn't be worried about what they have observed over the years. Additionally, you might have known or at least guessed that they are not the only group of people that sees this tilting. If you want to see the change in celestial bodies more pronouncedly, you should probably go to the edge of the Earth, and by that I mean the polar circle. And not so surprisingly, the Inuit elders of the Arctic have been noticing this for years. I have let you guys see an extract of an interview with these people several times, but here it is again for your convenience.
Nunak jawab kijak luk kalangan asin naligala ciumat kangen lalu nomanga akau nga syukui ni taka kijane kawi cipanyuma sepenak apa gua nanu bulik mau nga kami anu ni pekat telak cima kalau ngat nunak jawab tanah asin naligala cima nak tilu mau nga daw yamit siya nung tak kasi mo na ito sa kanya.
Sa kinaktek ako si Tito ang ito. Chukay ma nung nakikitlok pa naman sa kinakpaw nakpalit ng ano aking anak sa ramago. Ako si bad kakto. Marito ko ang iyo piniglo. Manarang minatot sa kuya wala ko ma. Kudo kaya kang niyakangan. Tamak ko at yung nagtangin. Ikong nga doon iman na wala ko sa mayakarwa. Saya benar unik sekali. Amma ang kawal ako sa mga minata, amang maroyak sa mga kuta, tamakwa udlugan amma kanoy liwatik sa malagad.
Now let's put some figures to the observations of these people, so you can see the degrees of seriousness in the situation that we are going through. Before 2000, the sun rose at the position of 4 o'clock and set in the opposite direction at 8 o'clock. However, by 2005, it rose at 3 and set at 9. It does not stop there. In 2014, it rose at 1:30 and set at 10:30. So the positions changed by already 2.5 hours. That is a lot. It's much more tilt now. Note that all these positions are thickened during the summer days, so no, there is no seasonal change involved. The gravities of the inbound planet X is also having profound impacts on the core of the Earth. The magnetic and gravitational fields of this rogue planetary system is causing changes under us that are clearly observed via the sudden and dramatic increase in seismic and volcanic activities around the world. I'm not going to talk too much about the volcano here because we have 2 separate series of volcanoes that you can find and watch in your free time. You just need to know that virtually the whole rings of fire in the Pacific Ocean is roaring back into life, and currently almost every volcano on Earth are showing signs of reawakening. Earthquakes are also becoming very common and frequent. The most recent major one was in Mexico last year, and it was magnitude 8.1, and the frequencies in many areas has reached as high as thousands of earthquakes in one single day. And that's not all we need to be worried about, because all over the place the Earth is cracking up. Fissures are opening everywhere, and it feels like one of those scenes in doomsday movies where the surface of the Earth broke into pieces, swallowing everything in its path from life to human civilizations into the hot-burning magma core below. Okay, it is normal to have fissures one in the wide, but we are talking about a global scale of this happening. The one attracting most media recently is probably the 100-foot wide fissures that crack up in the Grand Teton National Park, right above the magma chambers of the system of the Yellowstone supervolcano. Again, I have talked a lot about that, so you can watch this in our previous video. There was a whole series on the issues, and we are still keeping a watchful eyes on it to keep you posted. Well, back to the fissures. Watch this following footage taken in Saudi Arabia last February. This was discovered on the 28th of February, and we don't know when it exactly opened up, but it was astonishingly almost 200 meters deep, meaning you can put 2/3 of the Eiffel Tower into it. Another occasion of this phenomenon is the Lucio of the province Chubivicas of Peru. And it's not one fissure that's cracked open the ground, but a whole system, as if the surface of the area was crushed and torn apart. I was astonished myself when I first watched the following videos. So guys, prepare yourself, because what you are about to see seems to step out of the movie 2012. These are all concrete evidence that upheavals are taking place and more serious things are on the way. As Planet X gets closer to us, its magnetic and gravitational effects will be graver every day. Seismic anomalies, mega eruptions, and super tides will be the new normal. And the worst thing is that we have no idea when the planet will arrive. A lot of people pinpointed times and delay the dates every time, and this really makes the argument lose its gravity. You see, with little information that we have and all the censorship, it is impossible to know when this thing will be here. So whatever dates you see out there, they are very likely to come from trolls or uninformed and confused people. Therefore, be very careful when selecting your information, and do not let these people make you stop believing in what the world is trying to tell you. So keep a watchful eye on your surroundings, not just the sky, but also the seas, the ground, anything. And of course, try to stay safe in this chaotic world. That's all I want to show you guys today. And if you could click that subscribe button, it would be very nice, because we keep you as updated as possible. We have videos like this coming out every day, and it would be very helpful in informing everyone. So until next time, JT at X Science is signing out.